In our video from Thursday, we saw that we had now started to break into new territories of volatility, especially when you compare it to our more recent 15-day analytics. If we take a look on the 30th, we had 419 trades. The only second time in which we had a number comparable to that was on the 20th, which was 353 trades. If I bring in a Thinkorswim chart here real quick, we come into something like, say, the SPY here, and you take a look at what the 20th was. The 20th was this day right down here, the first day that we had the gap down. We saw a good deal of volatility. Then we did a follow-up, which was on this candle right here, the 30th, in which we had 419 trades. That same volatility continued this time to increase headed into Friday, October 1st, where we made even a new high in terms of volatility, 501 total trades off of our live scanner. So all of this implies, at least in my opinion, that volatility is starting to pick up. And at least for the shorter term, we're looking at more downside targets instead of bullish trades. So knowing that, let's try and find some opportunities. We can head into our short interest tab right here. And if you come inside, actually, before I even go in there, first things first, at the top here, you'll notice that we have both bullish opportunities for those of you still looking to find them, along with bearish opportunities for those of you looking for now a trend switch. Now, quick note before we actually get into that. We have bullish squeeze right here with high short interest. And what this implies is we have a squeeze that's currently forming up, either a red dot, a black dot, or a yellow dot squeeze. We have stacked moving averages on the bullish side, and that's the 8, 21, and 34 stacked. And then finally, we have high short interest, which is determined by plus 10%, so meaning at least double digit in terms of short interest. For our bearish squeezes, that's the exact opposite. So still a squeeze, but this time moving averages stacked bearishly, and then the same high short interest. Now, if we come inside of our short interest page here, we can find those opportunities very easily by just turning on this switch or turning off the switch if you'd like to remove them. So first, for example, if we start by looking at our bullish opportunities here, we can just toggle that on. We have a list of all of the different places in the markets where we have a bullish squeeze currently forming with high short interest. You'll see all these numbers are above 11%. So for those of you looking for those opportunities, you can either pause this video or slowly go through it. And here are some interesting places you might want to focus. Now let's say you wanted to narrow this down, say just inside of the S&P 500. We can click the S&P 500 button, and the only symbol that still meets the criteria is DISH. So let's take a look at DISH here. So I'll load in DISH Network. And inside of DISH, what you'll notice is most recently on Friday, we had bullish activity. So while the markets were really starting to fall apart here, DISH was really holding its own, so much so that we even had a slingshot squeeze. Let's load in the back tester here just to get an idea of, well, is this an effective signal or not? So I can load that in, click apply. All right, so slingshot squeeze on this, kind of a hit or miss, right? 3 winners, 3 losers. Average winner 4.81%, average losers negative 9.82%. So I'm not necessarily sure that this is the greatest opportunity. It's not similar to the ones we're accustomed to seeing. However, the thing I think is worth calling out here is DISH really holding its own while the markets start to fall apart. This entire period, you'll see DISH was more or less chopping sideways. And most recently, when the market started to really tank, that's when DISH was really just starting to pull back into its moving averages. So that's interesting for those of you looking for a bullish opportunity, but you are going a little bit against the back test. Now let's switch gears and take a look at our bearish opportunities. So if I load in first, we can go to all of our stocks. Then I can turn the switch for bearish squeeze with high short interest on. So these are the stocks that are being shorted for good reason, right? There's bearish movement now, there's high short interest, implying that people are actually shorting this probably for a cause. So now if inside of this, first I can scroll up and down, you'll see there's a lot more stocks here. Obviously that makes sense given that the markets have recently started to fall off a cliff. However, now we narrow down our search right back inside of the S&P 500, a list of 3 focused areas where inside of the S&P 500 we have a squeeze currently forming, we have bearish stacked moving averages, and we still have high short interest. So there we have Discovery, Harley Davidson, and Nordstrom. So let's take a look at all 3 of those. So let's start first with Harley Davidson. Zoom out here. Harley Davidson, very clearly a bearish trend here, very clearly broken past the 200 simple. The 50s now even below the 200 simple. Moving averages all stacked bearishly. Most recently, we had an edge signal, which was a bearish edge signal right here. So everything inside of Harley Davidson is pointing short, We've also, if you just zoom out here, take a look at this more on a Fibonacci basis. We've hit the 1272, starting to sell off, broken past the 100% extension as well, the previous high, now tagging near that 786 at 35.2. But more often than not, these end up at least touching their 50% retracement. We've seen that happen quite a bit, which in Harley Davidson's case, 27.60. So that's one interesting trade. The next one we can take a look at, Discovery. So inside of Discovery, this is a little bit less interesting. Price action just really chopping around sideways, a bunch of bearish signals right here, but price hasn't really been doing a whole lot. From that bearish signal down 15%, so still looks meaningful. However, in the grand scheme of things here, this chart doesn't look as attractive as something like Harley Davidson, at least just on the basis of how narrow those candles are. But still, another interesting opportunity with a good amount of bearish signals right here, where that squeeze has already fired short, settled itself through, and now we have a new squeeze forming at least just one dot in. And finally, the last trade we had was JWN. So let's load in JWN here. JWN, very interesting right here. Bearish slingshot squeeze, momentum starting to decline. Our moving averages stacked bearishly. The 50 is now below the 200, which is this white line right here. So everything inside of Nordstrom's also suggests a little bit of bearish activity. Let's test this out as well. So I'll load right back in that slingshot squeeze backtester. And again, for all Volatility Box members, you can download this for free off of the Squeeze course page. But now we've loaded in the backtester. Let's switch this from long entries to short entries only. Click apply. There we'll see two winners, one loser, and this is over the past 5 years. Last time the signal happened right here, that squeeze ended up reversing, firing long. And actually, I can just right click, show report, and we can see all these trades. So that was our one loser. And the two previous times, 2017, 2019, both of which the squeeze ended up firing short and gave you an actual winner. Here's one example of that. This is similar to what we'd be looking for right here inside of Nordstrom's. And then if I keep coming back a little bit more, our other opportunity was, this is a 2017 one, where again, moving averages stacked bearishly, the squeeze ended up firing short. So hopefully in today's video, you have an idea of not only what volatility is currently looking like, it's starting to pick up, and this is data telling us that as opposed to trying to use intuition for that. And using that data, we then looked at both bullish and bearish squeeze opportunities with high short interest for those of you looking to try and participate in that sort of a manner. Hopefully this video is helpful for anyone with access to the stock platform. This updates every single day. So say a stock now goes out of stacked moving averages, well, this updates. Say it enters stacked moving averages or enters that double-digit short interest percentage or enters a squeeze, whatever it is. This is updating daily. So you can come back in, refresh it, and really get a new list rather, of stocks that you might like to focus on or new opportunities. All right, hope this video is helpful. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading, and we'll see you in the next update.